$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it.
I admit to always improving.
I don't wear a mask like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from me, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
I eat at the shop. That's what I eat.
And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb. So dumb.
So today, on behalf of the United States, I want to thank every Olympian and Paralympian. And that was just incredible. And what happened with the Paralympics was so incredible and so inspiring to me. And I watched, it's a little tough to watch too much, but I watched as much as I could. It was really fantastic.
Do not come. Do not come.
They weren't coming because they couldn't get in. Once they think they can get in, they're coming, and they are coming at levels that you haven't even seen yet. $7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
So notice something. I defended him on his bad joke because I have standards and I have principles.
Liked beer. I still like beer. But I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting, pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Not good. Believe me, not good. They're coming all over the place.
It's like, oh, Abel's your guy, eh, God? How about if I take him out in the field and beat him to death?
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the vote.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose?
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic in style-ation of the goddamn. I am your host, the person in charge, the head bitch in charge of the goddamn. I'm here once again to do a show. I'm doing a show here. I'm trying my best to do a show here. And so I'm doing a show. I got a show going on. And so yesterday I took a day off, the first vacation day in a while. So I took a vacation day, and I went on vacation, and now I'm back from vacation. You know, a lot of these YouTube creators, you know what they do? Oh, look at me. I need a vacation. Oh, I'm so burnt out. I need a vacation. I'm gonna take 2 weeks off for my holiday. Nah, motherfucker. How about this? Take 1 day off, do a bunch of psychedelic drugs, and then that's like basically you took like 10 years off, and then you're back to work the next day. That's what I did yesterday. Pretty good. And so now I'm feeling recharged. I'm charged, except for because I was charged, and then the charge ran out, and now I'm recharged. So I plugged myself in to the quantum verse, and here we are, back at it again on a Sunday. Whoa. All right, so we got a show. I guess there's a show going on. I guess. I mean, I might as well. I'm already here, right? I might as well do a show, right? The goddamn day of sun. I prefer the day of the sun or day of the sun. I think the could be placed more adeptly within that construction of words. Day of the sun. That's what I'm going to name my first album. Day of the Sun. And then there's going to be like songs on the album. Some streamers cough, Hassan Piker cough. Really do need to take a vacation. I think that they should just retire. Personally. I think they've had enough time in the sun. Anyway, so there's a show going on. Excuse me. Hello there. Welcome to the show. There's a show going on. And so I just got called up, and, my investors at Above It All Industries, they're fuming that I took a day off. They're mad. They're telling me, you got to do a fucking goddamn. And so here I am. So doing a goddamn, doing a motherfuck. Here we go. All right. So, doing a show here. Crack it open. Let's do it. It's happening. One-handed. Look at this. This is the one-handed seltzer opening technique. Check this out. One hand. Check it out. One hand. Yeah! I mean, you can't really... I mean, this is something... Like, you just can't explain it. Like, if someone were to ask you, so what were you doing at 12:17 p.m. on Sunday? You wouldn't be able to explain this. You couldn't. How could you? How could you? First of all, it's Day of the Sun. Opening up seltzers with one hand. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. It doesn't get any better. But anyway, so I got some news here. I got some news. I'm doing a show here today. I'm going to be doing multiple segments today. We're going to be talking about the goddamn Amazon Union. I'm going to be talking about some really bad takes on transgenderism. As we all know, I'm a staunch proponent of transgenderism, and so I'll be discussing transgenderism. So there you go. Wow. Whoa. We got Bob Carmody. We got goddamn Justin Vigil. We got Farman We got Rielan. We got Tyler. We got Mario. We got Abner. We got Gary. About to Sleep, Triple Z. Bigelow. We got Hame. We got Johnny Too Late. Alright, so there's a show here. There's a show. I mean, we're going to be getting into some internet drama. That's fun. We're going to be getting into the Amazon Union. That's fun. We're going to be getting into some reactions in regards to the Amazon Union. That's fun. We're going to be talking about cops. That's fun. We're going to be making fun of stupid-ass, motherfucking bitch-ass, motherfucking bitches. Retweet if you hate bitches. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, let's start the show with this one. This is pretty good. All right. So Lauren Boebert. Now again, that's a real person's name. This person exists. Their name, they walk around every day and their name is Lauren Boebert. Like, that sounds like a cartoon. Anyway, Lauren Boebert went on to Twitter.com and was saying this. We require people to be 21 to purchase alcohol beverages and 21 to purchase tobacco products. Why is it so unreasonable to require people to reach a certain level of maturity before making life-altering decisions about their sexuality and identity? So, what she is advocating for is that not only should healthcare for trans and gay people be banned under the age of 18, but now, again, she's trying to push the barrier. You have to be 21 years old to be gay. You're not allowed to decide on your own that you're gay until you're 21. You're not allowed to decide whether or not you are trans and want to pursue medical treatment until you're 21. In Lauren Boebert's mind. Now, that's interesting because Lauren Boebert, to my understanding, had a child before the age of 21. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in order to produce a child, right, again, I could be wrong. I am, right, a filthy fucking, queer, right, so I could be wrong. I might not know what I'm talking about. But to my understanding, in order to produce a child, you might need to have some form of sexual intercourse. Now, again, I know Lauren Boebert is advocating to ban all sex before the age of 21, but that's weird considering, again, she produced a child before the age of 21. Now, again, typically, I would say 99% of the time, children are produced from straight heterosexual sex. So, but does she say homosexual sexuality or trans identity in this tweet? No, she does not. She just says sexuality and identity, right? So she is advocating against herself. Why is it so unreasonable to require people to reach a certain level of maturity before making life-altering decisions about their sexuality and identity? I would personally suggest that having a child is pretty life-altering, and it is a decision that involves sexuality and identity. You are now going to identify as a mom. You are now going to have sex and produce a child. So again, I'm just saying that's interesting. But again, we really need to talk about what this ultimately is that they do not view trans people as humans. Conservatives do not view queer people as humans that are capable of making their own decisions. And they also, I mean, honestly, this goes back into Christian fascism, right? Is that the Christian fascists, right, aka the Christians in this country, right, they don't view anyone as being able to think freely. That's why they develop this God character that will command them and make them follow all these bizarre rules because, again, they are not capable of free thought, or they do not want anyone to be capable of free thought. Now, I will say this. As a disgusting, fucking evil tranny, I will say this. I knew a lot about my identity when I was 5 years old. I'm just saying. Now, I've also spoken to a lot of cisgender people, and they're telling me that they knew that they were cisgender when they were 5 years old. Now, I've also spoken to people who are heterosexual, and they've said that they had crushes on the opposite gender when they were in first grade. Is that allowed? Is that possible? Is it possible that maybe heterosexual people and homosexual people and people of all kinds of sexual identities might get their first hints about that when they are 8, 9, 10? Is it possible? Yes. Is it the average? Is it standard? Does it happen to everyone? No. However, yes, it is possible. But again, they only want to do this conversation when it comes to gay people. Straight people, right? You know, the stories of, oh, you know, I had a girlfriend in second grade because I thought she was pretty. Sorry, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But if you're a boy and you have a boyfriend in second grade because you think they're pretty, that's illegal. You're evil. You're sinning. You're disgusting. You belong in jail. Your parents belong in jail. Again, think about this. Now, again, is it normal? Should it be encouraged? That's a whole different conversation. But the idea that people don't know their identity when they're 20 years old, I mean, like, let's be honest. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. And again, this is fascist. There is no stretch of the imagination that could possibly be, there's no mental gymnastics that could possibly be done to convince yourself that this is nothing but fascism. That's it. I'm just telling you. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Me personally, I started to have a decent idea of my sexuality when I was in first grade. That's just me personally. Does everyone have that kind of idea? No. But for me personally, that's like the earliest memory I can have of finding anyone to be like, wow, they're really pretty. So, just saying. Wow, I really like looking at this person when I was in first grade. So I'm just saying, is that normal? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I've met a lot of people that have said, first, second, third grade was when they got the first inkling of, oh, wow, I just really like looking at this person. You know what I'm saying? So again, whether that should be encouraged or taught about, that's a separate conversation, right? And we can have that conversation. But this idea that no one understands their identity at the age of 20? What? The age of consent for sexual activity is 18. Is she advocating to raise the age of consent to 21? Well, her party, the GOP, in several states are advocating to eliminate the age of consent. Tennessee has a bill right now that would eliminate the age of consent for marriage, right? Other states, right, want to reduce the age of consent to 14. Right, this is the same party. If you're trans, if you're gay, age of consent must be 29. If you're not a filthy fucking queer, then yeah, age of consent can be like, I don't know, 6, I don't know, whatever. Let's get married too. These people are fucking crazy. But of course, at the end, this was tweeted on April Fool's, so who knows? Mine was kindergarten. My teacher, she was beautiful. I was in love with her. That's incredible. It really is just hate and fear. Hello, Dukers the artist. Are you a new viewer? If so, welcome, welcome. Courtney, tobacco was raised to 21 last year. I don't know if you caught that, but was it 2021 or 2020? I think it was 2020, actually. Hold up. It was 2019. Okay. December 20th, 2019. To purchase cigarettes or tobacco products, you now have to be 21 years old. I thought that was... Wow. December 20th, 2019. That's a long time ago. Yeah, that was in the Trump administration. Yeah, I don't smoke either, but I know smokers. I actually knew a smoker who was in that 18 to 21 range, and they were very upset. You know, all this shit has deep roots in colonialism and Anglo-European history. It's also, yeah, just like religious Christian fascism. I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't say that Anglo-European is the most important factor there. I would say Christianity is the most important factor. I think colonialism has its roots in religion and Christianity especially. And I think, to be honest, right, other religions, I think, would have done the same thing if they had developed certain technologies like guns or like other sorts of weapons. I think really it was just an accident of nature that the Christian fascists just happened to be the white people and just happened to mass produce guns. You know, I think that that's just an accident of nature. I do think like if another giant religious cult, right, were to have had that level of firepower, I think they would have taken over the world in their own way. But yeah, absolutely. These motherfuckers are crazy. Isn't that crazy? I've been watching you since 2020. That's crazy. You just never run the live shows that often? All right. Sounds good to me. Y'all, I want to tell a story. I'm going to make this a segment too, because this is So, yesterday I took a vacation day and I left the house. That's right. In the middle of a pandemic, I left the house. I was responsible. I wore my mask. And I also ingested magic mushrooms. And so I ended up going outside. My original plans going outside were pretty much entirely subverted because in my quest of being on drugs in public, I stumbled upon a museum. I went inside this museum, and it was the most incredible experience that I've ever had. It was very incredible. So like around when the peak of the experience began was when I believe, to my understanding, I entered this museum. It felt like I was in there for 30 years. It felt like I was in there for 30 centuries. It was a very long time. I was looking at paintings, sculptures. It was great. It was wonderful. It was an amazing experience. One of the I was starting to freak out a little bit too, because like museums have these like big rooms, like for the galleries, like they have these like really big rooms, right? It felt like I was in like Dark Souls, in Anne Orlando in Dark Souls, where you're in like the Giants area and all the rooms are really big. I remember like looking at the ceiling and then like looking at the floor and looking at my feet and then looking at the ceiling and thinking I was shrinking. Right, that was incredible, and I started to freak the fuck out. But anyway, I was looking at paintings. I was looking at sculptures, and it was incredible. I was examining each one. I feel like I was extremely visibly intoxicated, because what I was doing is I was doing the classic thing where you lean in, and I was like trying to get my eyes right up against the artwork. I was studying every detail. One of my favorite parts about this experience was analyzing the brush strokes. It was very enjoyable. Like I was imagining like which brush strokes came first. Like I was trying to like piece together the order of operations in regards to these paintings. I did not touch anything, of course. I personally consider myself an art enjoyer, both on and off of drugs. I enjoy art, so I would never dream of touching art. In that fashion, unless it's meant to be touched. Sometimes there's art that's interactive, but anyway, I was like trying to like recreate the painting in my head, with which brushstrokes were first. And that was very fun. And then I went to one of the galleries, was like an abstract art gallery, and that shit was crazy. It was freaking me out, man. There were like boxes, there were like faces popping up in the art. Like, I don't know if the faces were there. I have no idea. I don't know if they were designed to be there. I don't know if the artist meant there to be a face. All I know is I was looking at this one giant-ass painting, right? right? I was shrinking, and I was looking at faces moving in the art. It was amazing. It was a beautiful experience. And then eventually I started freaking out a little bit. And so, eventually I left. But it was a very good experience. I left the house yesterday. And I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I, kind of just, let the world, kind of guide me. I wasn't planning on going to a museum, but it was there, and I was on drugs. So I went to the museum, and it was amazing. So it was amazing. I really have to say it was a very good time. So I enjoyed my vacation yesterday, and I just wanted to share that. I personally, Abner, you need to see a Van Gogh up close if you like brushstrokes. Van Gogh is my favorite artist, painter, I guess I should say, specifically. I love Van Gogh, and I am planning on hopefully at some point in the future visiting an exhibit of Van Gogh. That would be amazing. And when I do, I'm going to be on many, many drugs. So that's going to be great. But that did not happen yesterday. But it will happen at some point in the future, hopefully. So there you go. I had the day off because I want to. I'm my own fucking boss. And what am I going to do? Oh, hey, boss man, can I get the day off? I'm not a fucking wage cock. I make my own fucking schedule. If I want a day off, you know what I'm going to do, motherfucker? Take a goddamn day off. And that's what I did. Yeah, maybe I'll write a fucking book. Andrea Rovenski's day off. Then it's just going to be like going through the museum, and there you go. I mean, I did some other stuff too, but I don't want to talk about everything on stream, Happy Sunday, Day of the Sun. All right. We got a show going on. I'm doing a program here on Above It All Industries. Was Van Gogh on drugs when he painted? Might be nice to see be on the same ones. I think he was just kind of crazy. But that could be like, he could have been on drugs, and like it was just reported in the books that he was crazy, because the thing with Van Gogh is that like there's not, to my understanding, there's not much like personal history from him. It's kind of like other people's perceptions of him is what we know, right? Because he was kind of like a weirdo loner guy. I recently bought a book containing the complete works of Van Gogh. You got to treat yourself from time to time. I would like that, but also like there's something different about seeing the actual painting. It's a completely different experience, in my opinion, to look at a photo of the painting and to see the actual one, to see the actual brushstrokes that he actually, it's incredible. I mean, I haven't seen in person, but I like looking at art in person in general, which I love to do. It's a whole different story when it's like the original oil on canvas or whatever. I was a little disappointed. Well, what are you going to do, Zero? Oh, I'm happy for you, Daniel. That sounds like a good time. $100%, you gotta see the original. Absolutely. Where's Mila? Yeah, where's that pencil emoji? Someone get that pencil emoji out. Rip it out and write down that Mila is absent. Yeah, if I take another day off, in the future, I would prefer to take a day off, during the weekday, But, I don't know. Depends. Anyway, we got some news here. Is Clarence, like, has he been found yet? Like, where the fuck is he? Goddamn Guinea. I don't know. So, how can you convince Republicans to become communists? Well, just tell them that their favorite companies are canceling them. So here's Laura Ingraham going full Marx, full Lenin, full Bernie Sanders, channeling Mao with this commentary.
And when Republicans, they get back into power, Apple and Disney need to understand one thing. Everything will be on the table. Your copyright and trademark protection, your special status within certain states, and even your corporate structure itself. The Antitrust Division at Justice needs to begin the process of considering which American companies need to be broken up once and for all, for competition's sake, and ultimately for the good of the consumers who pay the bills. And that's the angle.
Whoa! So, again, that's crazy. I mean, like, I don't know, man. Isn't that, like, do you think that they realize that this is literally just communism? Like, if Republicans win, they're gonna take over Disney's copyrights? That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. I mean, I agree, right? Like, in my opinion, right? Like, let me just be honest. I agree, right? Like, I think we should abolish copyright. I think we should abolish money. I think we should abolish companies and corporations. I think we'd abolish all that shit. I think we should definitely break up every company, right? Now, again, why do I think that? Because I'm a communist, right? So I just want to say, now, again, obviously, needs to be understood, they don't actually think this. This is just like, you know, they're trying to threaten, you know, these companies and saying, like, we're going to fuck you up, basically. This isn't about, like, this isn't like an ideological, principled, you know, stance of, communist policy. What this is a threat. They want to say, like, oh, do what we say or we're going to break you up, right? But are they really going to do that? No, they're not going to do that. They would never do that. Why? Because they love these corporations. This is all just about, you know, cancel culture and the rhetorical battlefield of ideas. But again, I just want to say it is pretty funny when right-wingers go full communist on accident because they're mad about cancel culture. And also, isn't this the highest form of cancel culture? Disney needs to talk about everything we like and our values or else we're going to destroy the company. That's fucking cancel culture, dude. Disney has like a gay character in a fucking movie and so you're going to destroy the company? What? Like, that doesn't, like, I mean, that's the ultimate form of cancel culture. But again, Republicans are fucking stupid. Pointing out hypocrisy doesn't matter. But it's entertaining when Laura Ingraham becomes, you know, Mao, basically, live on stream. I have to say, it's entertainment. Goddamn Disney. So a lot of people in this country, when talking about movies, video games, literature, etc., they love to talk about how we're in this culture where there's like no new ideas. There's always sequels, reboots, remakes, out the wazoo, out the wham-wham. They're everywhere. There's sequel this, unnecessary reboot, unnecessary sequel, the third trilogy that where there really shouldn't have even been one trilogy in the first place. All right. Along that line, along that same vein, here we have another sequel that no one asked for, and that is Sarah Palin Part 2. So, on April 1st, 2022, now again, bear that in mind, today, former Alaska governor and vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin threw her hat in the ring for the special election for the U.S. House seat in Alaska formerly held by the late Don Young. After submitting her application, Governor Palin issued the following statement. Today, I'm announcing my candidacy for the U.S. House seat representing Alaska. Public service is a calling, and I would be honored to represent the men and women of Alaska in Congress, just as Rep. Young did for 49 years. I realize that I have very big shoes to fill, and I plan to honor Rep. Young's legacy by offering myself up in the name of service to the state he loved and fought for. Because I share the passion for Alaska and the United States of America. I first entered politics 30, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so she's back. It's happening. Sarah Palin, round 2, in theaters, November 2022, or whenever the special, I guess it's a special election, right? So I guess it's going to be sooner than that. But if Sarah Palin gets back in the House, which, let's be honest, she won for governorship, right? She's capable of winning a statewide race. Wow. Right? I'm just saying, if she wins, it's going to be entertaining. Now, again, Sarah Palin, let's have this serious conversation. Is Sarah Palin crazier than Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene? Honestly, I think they're in the same tier. But Sarah Palin's old school. This bitch was doing that shit back in 2008. Right, so Lauren Boebert is basically just Sarah Palin that's been getting shot with some ray that de-ages her or something. That's basically Lauren Boebert. Sarah Palin and Lauren Boebert are basically the same character, right? So can Sarah Palin compete in a Congress where it's the Spartans in Halo, right? You've got the second tier of Spartans like Master Chief, right? And then you got the third tier of Spartans, which are more well-trained, that, they learned about what all the Master Chief's friends, they're all dead. You ever play Halo? He's the last fucking Spartan. Why? Because the other ones fucking died. So they learned from the mistakes, and they went for the Spartan 3s, and they all learned from the mistakes of the Spartan 2s, and now they're better and more equipped. So, can Sarah Palin compete in this environment? I don't know. But, as a content creator, that's right, I create content. This is going to be fun to watch. But anyway, again, on the list of speaking of unnecessary sequels, Halo 4, 5, and 6, unnecessary sequels. Halo Reach as well. Oh, I guess that's a prequel. But anyway, I can talk about Halo a lot, and I'm not going to, because that's the end of the segment. From her bed. Oh. I'm not watching the Halo TV show. I don't care about anything after Halo 3 ODST. That's the last game in the series as far as I'm concerned. Let's do a show here. So, when we talk about stories, hanging out with people, you might hear the term, my buddy is a little bit of a wacky guy. My buddy was smoking weed, got high, and then, my buddy was doing some crazy shit, started popping pills, started, eating these mushrooms out of the ground, started, taking chemicals in the eyeballs. My buddy is crazy. Well, that buddy turned out to be elected to Congress, and his name is Buddy Carter. So this clip made the rounds. Now, again, for those of you that don't know, the House, once again, for the second time, voted to decriminalize marijuana. And so they were debating whether or not marijuana is evil. And so Buddy Carter said some very stupid shit, and, he went viral for it. Let's watch.
Mr. Speaker, as you know, I'm a pharmacist. I know addiction. I know, and I've studied addiction. I can tell you, marijuana is nothing more than a gateway drug.
Marijuana is a gateway drug. Now, he's a pharmacist, so, you know, his expertise is in pharmaceutical products, potentially. But I'm very curious, right? Like, what is a drug? We need to really define. Now, I just want to tell you my biases. I think we should decriminalize every substance. I think we should legalize every substance. The idea that certain substances are illegal is ridiculous. You know, we can get into the history of the Controlled Substances Act as well. But you know, pharmaceuticals, yes, maybe you can consider those drugs, but, okay, but what is a drug and what is medicine? Well, I mean, I don't know. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm antidepressants. I'm skeptical, right? But I know they work for some people, and that's great for them. But a lot of people that I know and I've spoken to have been prescribed antidepressants and were prescribed antidepressants, you know, when they were like 15. Is that not a gateway drug? I'm just saying, right? You know, people get prescribed ADHD medication when they're 13. Right? Like, so I'm just saying, if anything is a gateway drug, we have a lot to talk about in regards to the pharmaceutical industry. Now, again, these things work for a lot of people. I'm just saying, the idea that weed is the gateway drug and not all other things that are legalized. What about caffeine? Is caffeine a gateway drug? I don't know, man. I've heard people say that, you know, they love coffee and then they tried cocaine and it's like, you know, it's like coffee, but, you know, like 100 times more. You know, I'm just saying that many people have said that. Is caffeine a gateway drug? What about smoking cigarettes, bro? What about smoking cigarettes? What about opioids? People, you know, get hurt in a car accident. Right? They get hooked on fucking Percocets. Then their script runs out. Their doctor says, hey, you don't need them anymore. But they got that itch. They're addicted. Right? Then they go out and get heroin. Whoops. Laced with fentanyl and dead. So are opioids a gateway drug? I mean, I think society, maybe would say that. I mean, I don't know if Buddy Carter would agree with me. What about alcohol? Is alcohol a gateway drug? A lot of people do a lot of stupid shit when they're drunk, including but not limited to taking other drugs that maybe they didn't know, they don't know what, you know, the drug is, or they don't know what the source is, but they're drunk and they don't care as much, and then maybe, you know, it was a bad batch or something and they die. Is alcohol a gateway drug? Now, I would say any drug can be a gateway drug. I think the idea of a gateway drug making something bad, I think is dumb. That being said, why is weed illegal? Like, let's assume weed is a gateway drug. Let's assume that's true. If weed's a gateway drug, so is alcohol, so is caffeine. So are SSRIs, right? So, but guess what? Only one of these things is banned. Now, me personally, I consider myself to be in favor of drugs in moderation. I think as long as you moderate, I think drugs can be a really good part of the human experience. Now, I'm not advocating to get into drugs. I don't think you should do drugs. I think a lot of people have addictive personalities, and drugs can be bad for that. That being said, I'd be lying if I said that, you know, drugs couldn't yield positive experience. There's a reason people do drugs. I mean, like, there's a fucking reason that people do drugs. I don't know. If drugs were all bad, no one would do them. Right? Like, I don't know. There's pros and cons. So I think people should be allowed to make their own decisions. One of the things about legalizing substances is that people can study them. Right? You don't have to, like, the only source of information isn't reefer madness propaganda. Right? There can be other sources of information. Some from people that really want to get you on drugs. Right? Some from people that really don't want you to get you on drugs. Some from people who are in the middle, and you have to decide what information you deem is accurate. Always do your research before ingesting anything. Whether or not that's something that you got at Wendy's. Do your fucking research. Look at the goddamn shit that you're eating in general. Whether you got a frozen fucking TV dinner, do your research before you put anything in your body, whether that's weed, alcohol, fast food, coffee, whatever, you should know what a drug, like a medicine that you're putting in. Research everything that you put into your body. That should be what we tell our people, our kids. We should say every possible thing you could even think of ingesting, you should know as much information as possible about that. You should know every ingredient in the food that you're eating and what those ingredients do, what their nutrient profiles are, how they boil down in your body. But again, in this instance, my buddy, not so bright. But anyway, congrats for the House for decriminalizing marijuana again. Doesn't really matter, though. That being said, Biden could just do that himself. The House decriminalizing marijuana doesn't mean anything because the president can just do it himself, right? Like, so the House doing that is kind of unnecessary. But, you know. How's everyone doing today? We are here coming at you live. Woo! Biden can reschedule cannabis at the executive level. Yes. Woo! So I'm going to play a clip here. The Amazon Labor Union had a successful outing in New York. And so I want to play a clip here that made the rounds. This has 8 million views on Twitter. So a lot of people know about this. And then we're going to be getting into some reactions and other segments here. But again, so this is the moment that the Amazon Labor Union basically realized that they had won. I want to play this because this is a very, in my opinion, monumental moment in American history. Again, there have been several attempts at unionizing Amazon plants. Recently, there was one in Alabama that did not end up going so well. But this is a successful example. And so here is, again, the Amazon Labor Union announcing their victory. Well, the moment before that they announced their victory in the celebration. I think it's good to watch this. This is awesome.
Let's go! Do this stuff! Let's go! Baby! ALU! 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 Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh man!
This is the best feeling in the world. Come up to the mic. Words can't
Come up to the microphone.
We
love champagne. We love champagne.
Words.
Can you turn this way? Do whatever you want.
Yo, Chris, can I pop it?
You got a message
I feel like you should be the one to do it.
Yeah.
I'll pop it for y'all.
Yeah.
Shake this shit up.
Watch out, Kevin.
To the first union in American history.
Yeah.
So there you go, y'all. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now again, there's been a lot of unionizing going on in this country. Really, in my opinion, I think the pandemic response by the government, by the corporations, by the owners of this country, the response to this pandemic, again, Chris Smalls here, the fella popping the champagne, was fired from Amazon because he was basically saying there's a pandemic going on and Amazon's covering up the people that are getting sick. They're not letting anyone know who's getting sick. They're not giving us PPE. And for speaking out against that, he got fired. I believe that there was the report, an Amazon leaked document, like called him like stupid and insignificant or some shit. You know, how it started, how it's going, right? Again, the first Amazon union. So, again, this is a big thing because I think that this is indicative, especially Chris Small's position here, where he did get fired for speaking out against the pandemic response when COVID first started making the rounds in these working areas in these facilities, right? And so a lot of people have been unionizing because people have realized that the government, that the owners of this country, the corporate owners, the overlords, the warlords of this country do not care about you. You are not a human being to the minds of the managers, the CEOs. You are not a human being. You are a commodity. You are something that can be bought and sold and thrown in the garbage. That is how corporations treat human beings. They don't care about your safety. They don't care about your well-being. They do not give a fuck. They could not possibly give a fuck. These are parasites. These are leeches. These are rodents. These are, and no offense to rodents, because rodents are actually more useful to society than these motherfuckers. These are like parasitic, again, leeches. I know I'm repeating myself. But again, I need you to understand the owners of this country could not possibly give a fuck. And that was laid bare during the pandemic, right? Remember this whole essential worker thing? Oh, they're essential workers! Yes, the essential workers. Where was their raise? Where was their protective equipment? Where was their, job security? Where was their, paid time off? They're essential workers. And yet they got nothing. They got nothing. You call them essential, and yet the CEOs are making more money. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all these big CEOs, Bill Gates, they made a fuckload of money during the pandemic. Some of them tripled their wealth during the pandemic. Right? Whereas, how have the workers been treated? Well, there's 1 million deaths in America from this virus. Right? The capitalists, the corporate overlords, they don't give a fuck about that. Because there's more. Again, I'm going to bring in the radical veganism here for a moment. Okay. This is how we as a society, how meat eaters, I should say, which in my opinion, now again, we're getting a little bit off track here, but bear with me. In my opinion, I think it's very fair to say that meat eaters are Nazis. They treat other species as scum. They send them to factory farms, mass produce, and kill them for entertainment and for profit. I'm just saying, let's be honest, right? But that is how the corporate overlords view you. That is how the corporate overlords view humans, workers. You are just as expendable as the cows that you're eating. You are just as expendable as the chickens that you're eating. You have no value. You are a commodity that can be bought, sold, and thrown in the trash. I need you to understand that. So again, whenever your opinions on veganism are, is irrelevant to me, you're wrong if you eat meat. You're just morally, ethically disgusting to me. That being said, right, what the meat process, factory farming process, is exactly what we are, cogs in the capitalist machine. They throw us out when we get sick. They don't even treat us when we get too sick. But if we get sick enough, they'll milk us for all the money in the world. That's why we don't have universal health care in this country. If we get too sick, throw them in the garbage. You can't pay that much. But if you get just sick enough, maybe we'll pump you full of fucking drugs, string you along, and take all of your money, take your savings accounts, take your cars, take your house, drain you of resources, and then kill you and pass the debt onto your family and your children. That's how medical debt works in this country. Tell me that doesn't sound like the dairy industry. So I'm just saying, now again, shout outs to Amazon labor, because this is a very monumental story. This is huge. I mean, this is really, I personally think that this is one of the biggest moments in American history as far as socialism, workers' rights, that we have seen in modern history. I do think so. And regardless of what you think about the personalities of any of these characters, That's irrelevant to this. Whether or not you disagree with certain things to certain people I've said, that's irrelevant to this. And I can talk about that as well later in the show. But this itself is incredible. It needs to be supported. And it needs to be shown that anyone can do this. We see Starbucks unionizing all over the country, right, and so forth. This is something that needs to happen. We need to, workers collectively. What if we all unionized? Right? What if we all unionized, all workers, all poor people unionized in the form of political parties, in the form of organizations, and then we all, collectively bargained with those in power in politics in that kind of way. Because think about this. A lot of people talk about third parties. What is the easiest way to build a third party? Well, you build dual power by working outside of the electoral system, building, unions, labor organizations, and then they have leverage that can support certain political machines. Let's say you get a whole bunch of unions in one area that all have their own thousands of members or so forth, right? You get all those unions to support a specific party, then maybe they have a shot at winning. If you want to vote for third party, if you're a third party person, what you should be doing is not starting a third party right now, but instead working in labor unions. I personally think that that's one of the biggest things to achieve more socialist goals in this country, and it's an important thing, and it's great. And, again, I believe that workers of the world should be uniting against the owners of the world, because you are a commodity that can be bought and sold, right? I think this entire world, every human being is enslaved to the owners. It's just that it's just a little bit creative. It's like a board game. Think of it like Monopoly, right? Yeah, sure, you can land on the boardwalk. You can land on Park Avenue. You can land on fucking whatever. Ultimately, though, you're stuck on the board. You're stuck on those tracks. You can't get off, right? And you need to understand, you have no freedom. You have no free choice. You have no free will. And that's just that. But we could, theoretically. Now, it's possible if we get too powerful, they'll just kill us all again like they did in the 1960s and 70s. That's totally possible. If we get a little bit too scary, they'll just gun us fucking down in the streets. All right. But it's worth a shot. So again, shout out to the Amazon Labor Union. Very big news. And I can't possibly imagine supporting it even more. So there you go. Now, I do want to talk about the AOC stuff as well, but of course, I am plagued by being an intelligent and nuanced content creator, so please understand. The Matrix is an apt metaphor for the false consciousness. I agree. I think the Matrix can explain... Just watch the Matrix, and that explains the system that we're in, absolutely, for sure. Pretty good movie. All right. So I want to get into some reactions to the Amazon Labor Union. This was a pretty silly reaction that I saw. Now, again, for those of you that don't know, the Amazon Labor Union successfully unionized the first Amazon stores in the country in New York City. And again, historic for socialism, historic for workers' rights, historic for people's rights. Just in general, in American history, world history, etc. And so let's look at some reactions by, I wouldn't say this guy's an owner, but this guy definitely works on behalf of the owners. This guy, his job, his career is to benefit the owners. So anyway, this is Jim Cramer just absolutely not having a good time.
Scale. Well, we know that the union work rules are what everything is about. It's the same case with Starbucks, too. If you can't tell your employees when they work, then you're really not able to have much of an ability to be able to move product or move coffee. And I think that the unions will be in charge of time that you need to work. And that would be dreadful very dreadful for anti-Jazz.
And that's just a U.S. picture.
It looks like he's kind of having like a meltdown. Like, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but he looks like he's on drugs. You know, like I don't know.
Free jazz.
And that's just a U.S. picture, right?
Yeah.
They got Europe to think about as well.
You know, look, one of the problems was, Starbucks does indeed have unionized places in the ones that they franchise, but if you can't control the work rules, no one wants to work certain shifts. So you can just say, listen, I'm not going to work that shift. And Amazon would not be able to say, yes, you must work it. So that's what at stake with union is time that you have to work.
Our thanks to Dee. We're going to watch developments in New York.
We have more on
and
the
Alabama.
tech check.
So again, what? Like, but this is like, again, there's no way to spin it. Like, these people are broken. Like, they don't know what to say. Their arguments make no sense. They're broken. Like, they're off script, right? They don't know what they're talking about. They're just saying words, and they're just hoping for the best. Like, they're just hoping that you kind of just believe what they're saying without really... So, okay. Amazon, their company's going to fall apart because they can't tell their workers to work. But, what? Like, how does that make any sense? So the union means everyone's going to quit, and then Amazon, like, just disappears off the face of the earth? Because that's what it sounds like he's saying. So Starbucks unionized, and then everyone said, yeah, we don't want to work, except you can't fire us because we're a union, and so now the store's shut down? No, wait, actually the store's still there, they're still working, it's just that they have more rights, and they're able to say, oh, actually, we shouldn't be working 80-hour fucking weeks without overtime pay. We shouldn't, et cetera, et cetera. So, we can't have someone do a shift. How about you think about that ahead of time? Like, I don't know, like, it's just strange. Like, this is like, again, these people are not the owners, but they work on behalf of the owners. They're trying to carry the water of the owners of this country, and they don't even have talking points. They don't even know what they're doing. Also, it's important to understand, Amazon announced that it's going to be trying to sue the National Labor Relations Board. What the fuck? They just don't know. They're off script. They never thought it would happen. And that's what's crazy, is that they're blindsided by this. Right? Like, we all have access to the same information. We all know that unions in this country have been getting more and more powerful. Right? But they're just trying to pretend it's not happening. They're trying to downplay it at every turn. And it's important to understand that they're in shock. Again, this is a monumental moment. It's just fun to watch people react to it. It's very interesting. I don't know, it's just very interesting. Because there is no, like, on the logical end of things, there is no rational, logical argument against unions. So to see people try, it's like, 2 + 2 = 5, right? That's one way to put it. But imagine if you wrote out, like, 15 fucking, like, algebraic equations and then, like, throw it to a calculus vortex and then to explain how 2 + 2 actually does equal 5. That's basically what they're trying to do. It's working back from the incorrect conclusion and just throwing a bunch of bullshit at and see eventually if people tune out and just say, yeah, I guess so. But people actually listen to that shit. So, speaking of bad reactions to the Amazon labor union victory, I want to play this. This is a little bit of a follow-up from the other day. So, for those of you that didn't see this, Crystal Ball decided to engage herself in some dramatic stuff. Crystal Ball, who follows me on Twitter, by the way. I'm not sure what's going on there. I've invited Crystal Ball on the show. Maybe she'll come on the show. I don't know. But anyway, so Crystal Ball was talking about how AOC, Met Gala, AOC, etc., blah blah blah. All these weird forced to vote adjacent conspiracies. Now again, it needs to be understood. Yes, should and could AOC have supported this Amazon union more when they needed it? Absolutely. I think it would be stupid and dumb and honestly, like self-defeating to pretend as if AOC could not have done more. That being said, right, AOC is one person. She is not a deity. She is not a god. She is not like, like a perfect person by any means. She is not like the most powerful person in the world. She's not a queen. She is not a dictator. So AOC helping support the union would not have like brought about socialism immediately, right? So again, we need to understand, right? Yes, could AOC have done more? Absolutely. Absolutely, she could have done more. But that doesn't mean she's evil. She didn't do more. First of all, again, not her district, but also it's close enough. She should have gone. Yes. If AOC went to Texas, right, because of Texas's issues, she should be able to go across the bridge. I agree. But there's such an irrational outrage after her trying to make the Amazon labor union victory about like snubbing AOC. It's just weird. It's strange. And I personally, I think it's unproductive. And one of the reasons I think it's unproductive is because Fox News will look at that and they will use it as a way to bash the left. Because in the Fox News world, in the right-wing world, AOC is synonymous with the left, for better or for worse, right? That's just how the right-wing world operates. And so making the Amazon labor union victory about AOC going to the Met Gala, as Crystal Ball decided to do, I think yields some very interesting results, and I just want to play this clip.
A former MSNBC host calling out Congresswoman AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for making a political fashion statement at the Met Gala, but skipping a rally for Amazon union workers. Crystal Ball saying, these are your constituents, and you couldn't be bothered to show up until they're on the cusp of victory? Ocasio-Cortez tweeting back in part, quote, the warehouse isn't in my district. Not much of a full-throated defense of her actions there. Meantime, a phrase I've never said on this show, AOC not progressive enough?
I'm surprised that we're saying that as well. So this is crazy. So this progressive journalist calling AOC out for going to the...
another thing here, Crystal Ball, again, just my opinion, she is not a journalist. Does she go and do field reporting? No, she is a news person. Now, again, I'm not saying that news people, right, are bad or less than journalists. I think news commentators, personally, I'm a news commentator. I try to do some journalism when I have the opportunity to do so. But I wouldn't classify myself as a journalist. Now, again, if an opportunity arises, like last year I did a lot of journalism. If opportunities arise, right, again, I'm not wealthy. I can't, like, go around the country and just, like, report on shit, right? I would love to do that more. But this is not, what I am doing right now is not journalism. It's just not the same word. Journalist means you go out and report on things. You get sources, you get information. That's not what Crystal Ball does. I'm just saying, she's a news commentator, and I think news commentators are valuable in their own way, absolutely. I'm not saying that they're less than or more than. I'm not saying that. She's not a journalist. I'm just like, it's a weird thing to call her a journalist. I don't know why people, for whatever reason, are like conflating news person with journalist. Is Laura Ingraham a journalist? Are anyone on the Fox Business Channel journalists? No, they are news commentators. I don't know.
The Met Gala last summer, but not an Amazon union rally at the same time. Crystal Ball tweeting, quote this, here's the guy who organized the union drive talking about how you left them high and dry. These are your constituents, and you couldn't be bothered to show up until they're on the cusp of victory. Well, AOC responding on Twitter saying, in part, quote, security was an issue as well. 2021 included a lot of high-level threats on my life, which limited what activities I was able to do. So Ball right back to this again. This is hysterical. No security concerns at the Met Gala. I mean, wow, punch. But really quick here, as a local New Yorker as well, I'm a Manhattanite, all these shootings and crimes and all these things are happening up in the Bronx in her district, and you never hear her talk about it.
Nope.
Like ever. She's focused on her D.C. career. I don't think she cares about New York anymore. I really don't.
You know what that reminds me of?
So, now again, right-wingers are fucking crazy. Now again, am I necessarily blaming Crystal Ball for the reaction of this? No. I'm not. That being said, like, right-wingers are going to be crazy. They're going to have a crazy reaction no matter what. That said, I don't know why I feed into it. Now, again, I personally think, you can go back and watch my original take. I did a video about this. I personally think, yes, it is important to know and ask why AOC did not support this union drive more. I think that that's completely fine. Criticizing politicians is a good thing. But we need to really manage expectations. No individual politician is going to save you. This idea that if AOC would have joined us, that it would have saved us, or AOC, we need AOC to save us, she's our lifeline. I don't know, man, that's weird. It's a strange mode of belief. My opinion is we should not rely on politicians. Now, would it be great if they help us? Absolutely. But we shouldn't be relying on them for anything, because at the end of the day, I think if you're relying on politicians to do the work for you, that your work is probably not going to last too long. Right? Again, my opinion, politicians should be representatives of what we have to say in government. Right? And politicians need to represent their constituents, absolutely. Right? In government. Now, politicians should be, like, again, AOC's in this weird spot that I understand, because she's kind of like, she is, again, for what, good or for bad, right, has gained some weird celebrity status, right? So people are saying that, oh, well, she's a celebrity, so she should do this more and more and more. Again, you can make those arguments. But again, ultimately, I just like this idea that AOC needs to be the headline for everything that happens on the left. I think is ridiculous. I think it's stupid, and I think it's missing the plot. I think people that don't like AOC should just move on. I really do. And I think AOC should do more. I think well-reasoned criticism is good. I think it's necessary. I think people should know that people are criticizing her. But I think the overreaction here from Crystal Ball and, a couple other people is resulting in some really strange stuff. Let's continue.
Yeah, that's like the Lori Lightfoot defense, those stories we've been telling about her, about how she has 65 private security in addition to her private security detail.
Yeah. Speaking of the labor force, apparently Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been called out by a journalist for, she went to the Met Gala, but she skipped an Amazon union rally after she stopped by
Now again, this is why this argument is stupid. The Met Gala is where the richest people in the fucking world congregate. Like, of course, they've got billionaire, like, paramilitary fucking, like, defense forces defending the Met Gala. Yes, AOC, because of her celebrity status, unfortunately, right, is in a situation where she cannot go to in-person events as much as she would maybe want to. Why? Because, again, people send her death threats every day. That's just... Now, again, could she have tweeted more? Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree she could have tweeted more. But again, this comparison of the Met Gala and a random union rally, again, it's like her excuse for security concerns, in my opinion, is pretty valid. Now, again, that's one thing she could have tweeted more, absolutely. But again, these takes here from Fox News are just bizarre. Because, like, I don't know, it's like, again, the force the vote, like, Fox News, like, they have the same perspective for whatever reason, and it's just what?
Amazon factory from being, she stopped that from being built.
Biggest
a big headquarters, 25,000 jobs here.
So now this is crazy that even Fox News is actually defending AOC in the sense that, like, people are saying AOC did nothing, but AOC was instrumental in blocking HQ2, right? So, I don't know, like, Fox News is actually doing a decent job here.
Here in the New York City area.
Yes, I don't think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a great sort of partner for America's working families, because she doesn't really represent them. She represents the interests which are against them.
So in the same breath, AOC campaigning to stop HQ2 is against workers. Huh? Well, in their minds, in Fox News minds, right, HQ2 would have been good for workers, right? So again, notice how they're twisting this. But they're also using the same talking points as the force to vote people, that AOC is rich and elitist. She's in the pocket of big corporations. It's just wrong. Like, we need to understand that that is wrong. Can you say, maybe, that she has sold out to the system of government, right, to a degree that which, is disappointing? Sure. In my opinion, if I were in Congress, I would be a little bit more adamant about not participating in the system. I think that there's good things that can come from just being in Congress and just screaming about things that are important. I mean, look at where Marjorie Taylor Greene has gotten on the right. really, she has no political power in Washington. She has none. Why? She's been kicked off of all of her committees. She's got no political power in Washington. Yet, she's got a giant fundraiser machine, right? And she can basically say anything and it becomes international news. Right? I think if AOC were to take that route, you could make a claim that that would be beneficial. But she's chosen not to do so. But again, is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so. I think the path that she has chosen, right, in my opinion, she is doing a good job at doing so. Now, again, we can criticize her. She's made a lot of bad votes. Every politician's made bad votes. It's going to happen. Prepare to be disappointed. Politicians aren't going to be perfect all the time. Right? But again, she's been doing hearings about Amazon, exposing Amazon's problems, how they treat their workers. To say that she's done nothing or she's bad for workers is just ludicrous. It's ridiculous. Could she do more? Absolutely. But this attitude on the left that, like, where's AOC on this? Does AOC have an opinion on this? It's the same thing on the right. AOC. AOC is like is synonymous with the left. For whatever reason, people view that, and I don't know why. I can't figure that out. I can't fucking figure that out. Why people think that AOC needs to be involved in everything. Now, could she and should she have done more? Sure. But, I mean, again, this is just an overreaction. I don't know. It's silly. It's disappointing to see this overreaction. And again, Fox News is going to do anything that they can to distract from a legendary, monumental moment in history. In my opinion, potentially one of the most important moments in American history for workers' rights. The Amazon labor union is a huge win. And again, anything to distract from that win, they're going to run with. And it's unfortunate that people that consider themselves to be part of the left, people that consider themselves to be part of the union, are trying to distract from that. Now, again, I think it's perfectly acceptable for members of the union to feel upset that AOC did not support them more. I think that that's fine. But those in media willing, that are trying to drive those wedges home and to amplify them, I think that that's a bad idea. I think the people in the union who feel upset, they're allowed to feel upset. I'm going to be honest. They should feel upset. That's fine from their position. But it's a stupid thing for media to drive that wedge because that's only going to cause more problems. Like, why wouldn't the Amazon labor union want to work with AOC in solidarity? They should. And let's say, should AOC have done more before this point? Absolutely. But the idea that you want to splinter or potentially, interrupt the potential of working together, let's be honest. Are you going to primary AOC? No. If you do, you're not going to win. Let's be real about this. Let's just be honest. Right? So you should make those alliances. You should work with people in power whenever possible. And the idea that we should splinter these relationships before they're even able to be fostered, I think is ridiculous. Now, again, could she have done more? Absolutely. I agree. But the idea that that makes it so that she shouldn't be worked with at all, I think it's stupid. We should always be pushing people in a good direction, not saying, oh, this person did something wrong, and so therefore they should never be trusted again. Now, again, maybe that is okay with certain things. I don't think AOC warrants that criticism. That's just me. Some people do. I disagree. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. And this is where I announce my congressional campaign. Let's go, Bodan! I agree. Isn't 25 the minimum age to run? So I could theoretically run for 2022. AOC hate is unfortunately a very successful PSYOP. I agree. But again, I think Chris Smalls having a sour opinion on AOC, I think that's fine. He's allowed to have a sour opinion. Now, I'm allowed to criticize how he expresses that opinion as well. But ultimately, I think he's completely justified having a sour opinion. That being said, I think media, ostensibly left-wing media accounts trying to amplify that sour opinion and drive that wedge to a wider audience, I think that that's irresponsible, personally. And the same way that, like, you know, there's lots of drama behind the scenes at a lot of left-wing movements, right? Protests, unions, right? Not all of that needs to be all over national news. It doesn't need to be there. You know what I mean? Like, no one needs to know about why two people in some movement are yelling at each other. That should be solved behind the scenes, behind closed doors, and it shouldn't be nationalized. Also, I wanted to share this photograph that was taken. It's a very good photograph. I covered this earlier, of Max the dog, who's currently still underneath me. Again, this is for the wiki feed enjoyers as well. Max the dog, he's currently sleeping right there. Isn't that incredible? And so that's my footrest. There you go. Whew. All right, so I'll do the cop story tomorrow. Why? Yes, that's right, because I want to focus on internet drama. I mean, I'm going to do the cop story regardless, so it doesn't matter what I do tomorrow. Oh yeah, someone asked me about Kyle and Crystal did like a driving video. I haven't seen it. I don't know. If someone wants to send it to me, I'll look at it maybe tomorrow, but do I think Kyle is a good stepfather? I mean, I gotta fucking get that clip of Kyle saying Crystal Ball is so stupid as a sound drop. Has anyone seen that? I don't know where, I don't remember where it is, but I don't have it on me, but it was a couple days ago I saw that posted. Apparently, you know, because Crystal Ball ran for Congress like 10 years ago or something. And so there's like a really old Kyle video of him reacting to that congressional race and calling her stupid. I gotta find that again. If someone can find that for me, I'll add that to the sound drop list. Jesus Christ. All right. So what should I do first? God, there's so much. I mean, this one is a fucking whopper. All right, let's go with this one first. All right, so I want to start this segment off by saying, you know, I respect Matt Binder. I think Matt Binder does great work most of the time. I think his very, like, ideological opposition to cryptocurrency is strange. That is probably one of the only things I disagree with him on. And I got into a little exchange with him yesterday, and I just want to say I'm coming in this completely in good faith. And I want to read. He wrote an article that I think is very strange. And I want to talk about it. And then I want to talk about the follow-up exchange that I had, and I want to go in depth on my opinion here. So yes, we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. So Matt Binder wrote this article on April 1st. Most crypto donors to Ukraine were looking to profit with an airdrop. Okay. So again, I've been on Matt Binder's show. You know, I like him. I don't know if he likes me. I don't know. But I like him. You know, I'd love to go on a show, on a scam economy show, to have this conversation if that's an option. If not, then that's fine. But this article I found strange because it uses the word profit. Now, I could be wrong, right? But to my understanding, the definition of the word profit means you start with a certain amount of money and you end with more money. Typically, That's what profit means. Now, in this article, there is no data or evidence to suggest that profit would have been made. Now, I'm gonna talk about another thing, and then I'm gonna read the article and go in on that. So, what happened here basically is Ukraine, the government of Ukraine, accepted cryptocurrency donations, announced that they would do like an NFT collection, airdrop or whatever to get people to give them more money. And then for whatever reason, they determined that they didn't want to pursue that anymore, and they canceled the airdrop. And then so over the course of time, people donated less to the cause. Now again, I think the ultimate goal of this article, the presupposition or whatever, is that crypto people are all evil. They're all like trying to profit off of war. They're trying to steal people's money. They're all scammers. I think that that's a little ridiculous, and I want to come up with other examples and analogies, and then but I'm going to read this article here, and then we'll get into it. So let's start. This is from Matt Binder on Mashable. You've probably come across at least one article heralding the tens of millions of dollars in charitable contributions to Ukraine's government thanks to the kindness of cryptocurrency holders and advocates. So I just want to say, cryptocurrency is neutral. Like, this idea that like cryptocurrency is going to save the world, I'm going to be honest, that's a little stupid. Anyone that thinks cryptocurrency is going to save the world really doesn't understand power. Okay? Let's just be real. But anyone who thinks cryptocurrency is morally corrupt and evil and that everyone who uses it must be a scammer or that cryptocurrency is inherently scamming is an overcorrection. It's irrational, and it is based upon a misunderstanding of a lot of things. And I'm going to get into that. However, an overview of the Ethereum blockchain data shows the vast majority of transactions over the past 5 weeks, from when Ukraine started accepting crypto donations until the end of March, occurred during a span of less than 2 days, when donors believed that they would receive an airdrop in return for the contribution. An airdrop is basically a huge giveaway that usually entails handing out cryptocurrency tokens to users. So again, what this is essentially a fundraiser that offers a product as a way to raise funds. So here's the data. Now, another thing about fundraisers is typically fundraisers receive the most donations when they are initially brought forward. Now, again, Ukraine did a big thing around, we're going to accept cryptocurrency donations, right? They ran with it for a week or so. They announced that they were doing an airdrop, and then they announced that they probably weren't going to do that, right? Then they kind of stopped pushing it. So when fundraisers get a lot of advertisement, more people contribute. When they get less advertisement, less people contribute. That's just kind of how fundraisers work. I've done fundraisers before. And typically, again, most funds in the fundraiser happen during the peaks of advertising. That's just how it works. And also, I've done fundraisers where I've offered things. And I've said, I will do this, I will do that. If you give me money, like I'll say, I'll shout you out or whatever. I mean, I have the scrolling text, if you give me money, I'll put you on the text screen. That's kind of how fundraisers work. Sometimes fundraisers offer a product. Sometimes people will sell like t-shirts and then the proceeds will go to charity, right? That kind of thing. The idea that offering a product for a fundraiser being a bad thing, I think is a little ridiculous. Some people, now again, you can buy let's say an artist is selling an exclusive vinyl, right? Let's say they only made 100 copies of their vinyl, and it's an exclusive for their EP or whatever. It's the only time they're ever going to print that in vinyl, and all the proceeds are going to go to a charity. And then let's say 10 years from now, I sell that vinyl for I don't know, let's say I bought it for $30 and I sell it for $150, right? Does that mean that the proceeds that went to that charity are somehow corrupt? No. Anyway, so here's the data. You see the bulk of the donations coming when the airdrop is announced, and then you see them taper off and the airdrop is canceled. But again, note also that this period, there's very little advertising of the fundraising addresses. And also, again, note with a lot of fundraising for Ukraine, a lot of it happened in the first couple of weeks. You can look at any amount of fundraising, any fundraiser for Ukraine, and you might see a similar trajectory. Starting off a little bit small, gaining a lot of time, fundraising, and then dropping off over time. That's just kind of how they work. So, but let's keep going. In short, most cryptocurrency donors sent money to Ukraine because they believed they would be able to personally profit from their donation. Now, this is my problem with this article. is that there is no evidence that this is the case. There is no polling. There is no, there's just no evidence of the case. Now let's look at the Humble Bundle. For those of you that don't know, Humble Bundle is a collection of Steam games where, they buy a bunch of Steam codes basically, or they're given them by the devs, and they do a charity fundraiser, right? And let's say the minimum donation to get all the games in the Humble Bundle is $5. But you can donate $500 if you want, right? But most people donate the minimum to get the Steam games. Does that mean that, the Humble Bundle is corrupt or the charity is corrupt? Because most people only donated the minimum to get the product in return? Yes. When you look at any Humble Bundle, right, or any Steam sale that goes to charity, you will see very similar charts to this. Does that make those donating to the Humble Bundle bad or looking to profit? I'm just saying, there is no evidence for this sentence. And this is the crux of the article. This is what's written in the title, that they were looking to profit. Most users, there's no polling, there's no data. The only data is that people gave the minimum, and you can apply that to any fundraiser. I'm just saying. Now again, I think the crypto hype is mostly stupid, but the idea that crypto is inherently evil or inherently scamming, or that crypto users are inherently, they're profit-seeking evil, it's just stupid. Now again, charity as a concept is dumb. We should be living in a moneyless society. I'm advocating to ban money. The answer to all of these problems, let's get rid of money, let's get rid of war, right? But let's be honest, the idea that Ukraine got a lot of money from crypto donations, that is a net positive. That helped people, and that's a good thing. I'm just saying. So, how later selling a reward they'd receive in exchange for the donated crypto, treating their contribution more like an investment. Now again, that you can apply that to almost any kind of fundraiser that offers a product. To t-shirts, like musicians do, did vinyl record selling, or exclusive EPs, or certain, they did a slow version of one of their popular songs, and then they released that for money, right? So, anyway, on February 26, 2022, the official Ukraine government Twitter account surprised many online when it announced it began accepting donations via cryptocurrency. The tweet included Ukraine's official Bitcoin and Ethereum wallets, addresses where crypto holders could send donations. ETH, the currency that is traded on the Ethereum blockchain, is one of the two largest cryptocurrencies, second to only Bitcoin. According to the public Ethereum blockchain data, more than 2,800 Ethereum transactions were sent to Ukraine's wallet address on the first day. On February 27th, just over 3,000 transactions were made. One would expect an influx of transactions on the first days from hype spreading among the cryptocurrency space and the media coverage that followed. However, by February 28th, Ethereum transactions sent to Ukraine were already dropping, with just over 1,200 transactions. So again, average for fundraiser. And then they did another marketing, advertising, hype campaign to get people to send them money, which is how fundraisers go. Sometimes you'll see a fundraiser, and then you'll see the spikes when they do the most advertising. That's just how fundraisers go. Then on March 2nd, Ukraine tweeted, airdrop confirmed. The window to get into the airdrop would last until March 3rd. Airdrops could come in the form of non-fungible tokens or a fungible token, such as dropping free coins into users' wallets. Because tokens are financial assets, airdrops are marketing stunts that reward people monetarily. Once an airdrop is received, holders can turn around and trade those tokens for fiat currency, such as US dollars. And to get that reward, you need to buy into a crypto project in some way, in this case, donating to Ukraine's government official wallet address. On the day the airdrop was announced, Ethereum transactions shot up from around 2,400 to more than 33,600. March 3rd saw over 25,600 transactions made, and it could have possibly been more. However, hours before the cutoff to donate in order to receive the airdrop, Prime Minister of Ukraine and Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Mikhailo Fedorov, announced that the airdrop was canceled. Now again, this is a tweet. After careful consideration, we decided to cancel the airdrop. Every day there are more and more people willing to help Ukraine fight back against the aggression. Instead, we will announce NFTs to support Ukraine armed forces soon. We do not have any plans to issue fungible tokens. So again, now, some in the crypto space have said that that's a scam. Hey, they offered a product, then said that they wouldn't give that product. That's a scam. I mean, that's the dictionary definition of a scam. Now, am I saying the Ukraine government's canceled or evil? No. But this is the dictionary definition of a scam. A scam is you sell something or offer something and then refuse to do it. That's a scam. Now, okay. Does that mean that all of a sudden they're evil? No. Does that mean that all of a sudden the people that donated for the product are evil? No. It's just, it's unfortunate that they chose to not deliver on the product, sure. Ultimately, I don't really care. Because again, it's fundraising for a good effort. I don't really care at the end of the day. Ether donations to Ukraine immediately plummeted the day after the airdrop was canceled, so only around 840 transactions. That's still a lot. I just want to say, that's still a lot. That's a lot. Okay? 840 transactions, right, still is a lot to Ukraine, and continue to have every subsequent day. Only around 2 to 3 dozen Ethereum transactions a day have been made to Ukraine over the past week. Now, again, they have also not marketed the fact that they're accepting cryptocurrency donations. There's also a limited pool of people in the crypto community that would donate. So again, most people donated during the main bulk of it. Maybe they do a one-time donation, right? And then they stop. So again, the idea that it's going down over time, that's fine. That's typical with every fundraiser. So why did Ukraine cancel the planned airdrop? Because officials within the Ukrainian government realized that many again, the word realized, that many crypto donors were indeed trying to profit from their charitable contribution, which was intended to aid Ukraine as Russia invaded the war-torn country. Realized implies that this is like a fact that was previously established, and there's evidence for it, and that Ukraine's, like the officials in Ukraine, stumbled upon this hidden truth, right? But there is no hidden truth. There is no polling done. There is no way you can see that they're trying to profit. Again, I use the Humble Bundle analogy. People oftentimes in Humble Bundle, now they went to charities, and they would, I would say like 80 to 90% of Humble Bundle contributions were the minimum to receive the Steam games. That's just how fundraisers go. According to Ukraine's Deputy Minister on Digital Transformation and IT Industry Development, Alex Bornyakov, a lot of people began sending incredibly small amounts of Ether clearly to receive the airdrop. And what's the problem with that? Like, I don't know why that's a problem. It's never defined why this is bad. It's like the only thing is that they might profit in the future, but also, honestly, who cares, right? And also, Ukraine controls what the airdrop is. Now, again, I am plagued with knowledge here because I've done cryptocurrency. I know about the space, right? I've been in the cryptocurrency space for several years. I know a lot about the cringe, and I know a lot about the stupid fucking crypto bros, but I also know a lot of these arguments against cryptocurrency are unfounded. 99.9% of airdrops are usually in like a token that is like 10 cents, 5 cents. Most airdrops are worthless. Now again, profit means you give a certain amount of money and you expect to get more money in return. That's what profit means. So the idea that you give a small amount of Ethereum and you get an airdrop, that doesn't mean you profit from it. In order for it to profit, you need to hold that coin and it needs to go up, or you need to pump and dump. That's just how it works, okay? Now again, you can criticize that, that's fine, but it has not been established that that would happen. There is no proof that that would happen, and Ukraine could ultimately have made the airdrop be worthless. They could just do an NFT collection where it's just like, you know, here's an NFT and there's like, let's say that there's 15 trillion of these kinds, or even a fungible tokens. Let's say that they could make them all worthless. It's just like a thank you card. Okay. Now again, there's no evidence that they would have profited. In order to actually have evidence that they could profit, you would need to know about what they're being airdropped, which was canceled. There was no information on what they would have been airdropped. So therefore, it is impossible to really say that they would have profited. There is no evidence whatsoever other than the idea that you have in your head that crypto people are just looking to profit and that they're evil scammers. If you think that's the default, okay, but there's no evidence for that. That's an irrational position. There was no minimum donation set by Ukraine to receive the airdrop, so seemingly even very small donations could have received the kickback. Now again, did they announce that the airdrop would be the same amount to all donors? Not really. They control the flow of the airdrop. They could have just made it so that each airdrop was like one token, and each token is worth like fucking like 16 like zeros of a penny or whatever. Right, okay. People started to want to profit, said Ukraine's Deputy Minister of Digital Information and IT Industry Development, Alex Bornyakov, in an interview with Motherboard. Personally, I don't think it's ethical. Where's the evidence? The evidence is some guy said something, and that guy is like, trust me, bro. That's the evidence. Now, again, am I saying Ukraine is bad? No. I'm on the side of Ukraine here. Yes, they scammed people. That's factual. I'm sorry, it's dictionary definition of the word scam. The crypto scam in this instance was done by Ukraine. Does that make them evil? Does that make them unethical? I don't think so, because the fundraiser is ultimately for a good thing. But they did scam people. That's just dictionary definition. That's what words are. That's what the definition of the word scam is. In the end, cryptocurrency promoters certainly came out ahead regardless of what happened with the airdrop. How? What does that even mean? Media outlets rewarded the currency industry with positive press coverages due to the millions of charitable contributions sent to Ukraine. What does that mean? Like, when people donate to the Humble Bundle for Steam games, yes, that raises the profile of Humble Bundle. That's part of it. What does that mean? They came out ahead. Like, I don't even like again, this idea that somehow there's a profit being made from this. They came out ahead. How? Because an article was written about it? How does that make them come out ahead? In reality, though, the intent behind most of those transactions were anything but charity. What does that mean? Does that mean any fundraiser that offers a product isn't good because they're offering a product and people only want the product? Again, another example. You all know I like Doom, the video game Doom. One of the original level designers for Doom, John Romero, released a Doom map for $5, and 100% of the proceeds went to Ukraine. So, I wasn't planning on donating it to those specific charities until John Romero put them out. I don't mind contributing to Ukraine. I contributed in other ways. But that's one way that I contributed to Ukraine because I bought that Doom map. I would have not otherwise contributed to that particular Ukraine fundraiser if it weren't for the Doom map. Does that mean I'm bad? Does that mean it wasn't charity because I wanted the product in return? No. I'm just like, now again, I think this boils down to, and I had now part 2 of this is I had a conversation with Matt Binder about this on Twitter that is really strange because ultimately I just want to say this boils down to Matt Binder does not think that online tokens are products. Now, my response is a Steam game a product? You can't hold it in your hand, right? Is it a product? Well, Matt Binder's opinion is you can play it, and playing it is enjoying it. Okay, maybe, right? But then he also says that speculating and gambling, you can't enjoy it. You're not allowed. That's his opinion. Now, we can debate that. But again, ultimately, this has nothing to do with whether or not crypto, this is not really a story about crypto. This has no moral implications on crypto. Now, personally, I think cryptocurrency, I think stock markets, I think money in general is a scam. I think it's all a scam, right? But it's also kind of fun to buy and sell things, right? You know, I collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Sometimes I buy a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards with the intent on selling a couple of them down the line. You know, I bought, let's say 10 Blue Eyes White Dragons, right? And I want to keep 5 of them, and I'll just hold on to the other 5, and I'll sell them in 5 years. Is that bad? Is that unethical? Does that mean Yu-Gi-Oh is a scam? Well, Matt Binder would say, well, you can hold the card in your hand, and that's enjoying it. Well, I say, why can't you enjoy something on a screen? Why can't you enjoy gambling stocks? Can you hold a stock in your hand? No. Now, again, I think we should ban money. I think we should move to a communist society, but we're not there yet. So anyway, I respond, profit implies that they would make more money than they gave. Is there any evidence that would have happened? It's just a simple question. I'm curious. Someone, Hunky Jimp Jorps said, based on the chatter around it, the community did take airdrop confirmed as evidence they would receive something that they could hold on to and later sell. Again, that's not profit. Receiving a product for a fundraiser that you might be able to sell, that's not profit. Now, profit means you make more, afterward. Now, if you want to tell me that you think that again, there's no details on what this airdrop was. There's no way to know how it would have been profitable because it doesn't exist. So anyway, this is literally just like any fundraisers, but I've said, if someone sells t-shirts and says proceeds go to charity, does that mean expecting a t-shirt for the purchase is immoral? What if it's for a band that did an exclusive and you could sell it on eBay in 20 years? Does it make it bad then? So yes, this is, again, these are things that happen. A lot of musicians and artists would sell exclusive t-shirts or vinyl records or a specific kind of remix of their songs as fundraisers, right? And then you have a product that you could theoretically resell. That's just, that's a thing that many other people did in many other industries. Is that necessarily immoral? Well, then this person responds, on its own, it's fine to get a gift in exchange for a donation, but the way the donations dried up after the Ukrainian government reconsidered the airdrop showed that the community had almost nil interest in actual philanthropy. They solely wanted to do something to flip. That's also not true, because what if people that donated in crypto donated in fiat currency or US dollars or whatever, the euro or whatever? What if they determined, oh, well, it's not worth donating in crypto, so I'm just going to donate in my dollars? There's no way to know that at all. This isn't the personal financial history of everyone involved. This is just one specific data point. It does not prove that. I'm just saying. It also contrasts with the way the crypto community says it's proof they're generous. Okay, I don't care about that shit. I don't care about crypto bro hype. I don't care. So anyway, I said it's actually not clear at all that they were looking to profit. There's zero data or evidence. Fundraisers are good, and sometimes they get more when they offer products. So Matt Binder decides to respond. Tokens are not products. You will not understand any of this until you get that a token is not equivalent to a t-shirt. It's a pointless debate without this very simple fact. Now again, I'm willing to debate Matt Binder on this because this is the crux of it. Matt Binder does not, for whatever reason, he doesn't think you can enjoy something unless you can physically hold it in your hand. I think that that's weird. I can't enjoy a YouTube video because I can't hold the DVD that it's burned onto in my hand? Like, are Steam games a product? I respond. Why does one buy a Steam game? Matt Binder says to enjoy it. I say, to enjoy it, people's idea of enjoyment is different from one person to person. Steam games are often delisted and can be flipped. I bought a Steam game for $2 once and flipped it for $40 when it got delisted. Pac-Man Museum, by the way. Does that make me a bad person? So Matt Binder then says, they enjoy it by playing the game. People do not obtain a token for enjoyment. There is nothing to play or wear or do literally anything else with. It is a speculative financial asset. That's all there is. There is no other purpose. Now again, some people enjoy gambling, evidenced by the fact that there's an entire city called Las Vegas where the entire point is to go and spend all your money on gambling. Gambling is fun. Some people bet on sports. That is fun. People find enjoyment in gambling. It's just a fact. To say that it's not allowed or it's not possible to enjoy gambling is just silly. So I say gambling is enjoyable. Ever been to a casino? I don't know why you think people can enjoy speculation or casinos or betting. Now, About to Sleep responded to me. Shout outs. But Matt Binder just, for whatever reason, stopped responding to me on Twitter. I don't know if he felt the conversation was pointless. But it ultimately boils down to Matt Binder does not value gambling. It is not enjoyable. Now, personally, I think the stock market is gambling. I think cryptocurrency is gambling. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering and Pokemon secondary markets are gambling. I participate in all of these things. Why? Because 1, I can make money. 2, it's fun to gamble. And 3, well, there is no 3. That's pretty much it. But again, the headline of this, most crypto donors to Ukraine were looking to profit. There is no evidence for this. There is no evidence at all that this was the case. There's just none. There is no evidence at all. Because there is no airdrop. There was no detailed like white paper or whatever the fuck term you want to talk about. There is no evidence that they were looking to profit. There is no evidence that they could profit. It's just non-existent. And so the whole crux of this article relies on no evidence. So I just wanted to say, I, again, really respect Matt Binder, but this one really fucking confused me because there's no evidence for the core thesis of the piece. And I tried to ask him where the evidence was, and it basically boils down to, I don't think you can enjoy gambling. I disagree. I think you're allowed to enjoy what you want. If you buy a cryptocurrency or an NFT and you like looking at it, that's enjoyment. I think people should be allowed to enjoy what they want. I'm sorry. I don't like country music. Typically, I've heard some country music songs that are good. Does that mean people that listen to country music can't enjoy it because I don't? No. I think that they can. I don't think that there's anything wrong with enjoying what you want. I don't know. That's just me, though. So anyway, I just want to talk about this because I feel like Matt Binder is kind of losing the plot on this one. I think, personally, now again, I like Matt Binder. I respect Matt Binder a lot. I think he does a lot of good work. I just disagree with him on this one topic. Please understand that. I just want to say, you can make the argument that Matt Binder has a financialized incentive to bash crypto. Why? Because he has a show called Scam Economy. The whole thing is bashing crypto. Now again, a lot of the shows that he's done, criticizing a lot of really bad actors in the crypto space, are good. He's done some good shows, right? There are a lot of scams in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of scams everywhere in capitalism. I think we should abolish capitalism. I think we should abolish money. But guess what? That's not going to happen. At least, not in the next 5 to 10 years. So you can make the argument that he's got a financialized incentive to bash crypto. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, ultimately, this comes down to, I think it's allowed and okay to enjoy gambling. Matt Binder says you're not allowed to enjoy gambling. It's bad. It's immoral to enjoy gambling. I disagree. And so I just wanted to say there's no evidence. This piece has no evidence. There's one data point, and you can interpret the data point in any way you want. and is pure speculation, pure conjecture. So there you go. I don't know. Wanted to talk about that. Nobody cares about whether or not crypto and NFTs are gambling products. What's true, though, is that most people who engage in it will lose, and they'll lose substantially. There's no evidence for that at all. Like, if you think that, okay, but there's no evidence that most people who engage in it will lose. There's just no evidence for that. I'm turning red because I drank a lot of coffee, and when I drink a lot of coffee, I get really upbeat. Now, again, I think it's perfectly fine to criticize cryptocurrency. I think it's perfectly fine to criticize anything. But guess what? It's perfectly fine to criticize people's criticisms. That's fine too. I'm allowed to say this is a bad article. I'm allowed to agree with a lot of his critiques on cryptocurrency and not this one. That's allowed. We don't live in a binary world where things are good and evil. That's just not the world we live in. And also, again, what's true, though, is that most people who engage in it will lose. There is no evidence for that. Like, yes, people get screwed over all the time. In everything. People will get things in the mail that say, oh, hey, give us money and we'll, we'll clean your gutters or something. And then they never do it. And it was just a scam. You will get emails. So much spam in your email box that every email service has a spam filter built in, because if they didn't, people would lose money on that email service. They would hate that email service because they got phishing scammed. Should we ban email? Is email bad? Or email users bad? Is sending an email bad because 90% of email traffic is spam? No. People that scam are bad. Yes, typically. Like the idea that gambling, yes, a lot of people lose on gambling. Does that mean that gambling should be banned? Ultimately, I don't think so. I don't think that betting should be banned. I don't think that stock market should be banned. In the future, when we achieve communism, absolutely. Fuck them. We won't need them anymore. As of Feb 8th, roughly 55% of Bitcoin investors were underwater, according to cryptocurrency investment firm 21 Shares. Do you want to look at the price since February 8th? The price has gone up since then. So, one, that's outdated. Two, the price changes. I don't know. Also, if I put $10 into the stock market and then it goes down 1%, does that mean I got destroyed? I got owned? What does underwater mean? You said, most people will lose substantially. Being underwater could be 5% down, 1% down, and also lose substantially. Substantially means you lose all your money. I don't know. That's just not, there's no evidence for that. There's just no evidence for that. If you look at the Bitcoin chart, first of all, on February 8th, the price was lower than it is today. So that's outdated information, first of all. And also, most people do not invest in Bitcoin and assume that they're going to get a return tomorrow. They could, it's possible. Ultimately, it's a casino. So is capitalism. Look at the stock market nowadays. With AMC, GME, and all these fucking shits. Just because someone, you can take a snapshot at any point and then say, look, it's a scam. People working in the industry know what they're doing. I disagree that anyone knows what they're doing just because they work in an industry. That's not evidence. That's not, first of all, I'd like to see that study. Second of all, that's not evidence that people are losing substantially. Losing means you sell for a loss. When you buy and you don't sell, you haven't lost anything. I just think it's stupid. I think it's stupid for leftists to be so clutching their pearls over gambling. It ultimately is it's weird. It's a conservative kind of viewpoint to be against gambling. Now again, people should not bet more than they're willing to lose. That's true. But because some people go overboard and get addicted to gambling, does that mean gambling should be banned? Some people get addicted to drugs. Does that mean drugs should be banned? Never ever said that gambling is wrong or immoral. Okay, then we agree on that. But you still haven't given me any evidence at all that, Bitcoin is inherently evil or the cryptocurrency is inherently evil. Now, again, if you want to ban money as a way of getting to communism, I'm down. Let's get it. But this idea that crypto users are, it's just mythological. And it's like a religious kind of belief, in my opinion. Again, I've been involved in the crypto space for 6 years. I've met a lot of people in the crypto space. A lot of people in the crypto space are fucking stupid. Guess what? Humans are fucking stupid. There's dumb motherfuckers everywhere. They're all over us. If you go outside, you're going to probably run into a dumb motherfucker. 20-something% of the country voted for Donald Trump. They're fucking everywhere. There's stupid motherfuckers everywhere. Libertarians like drugs. I think libertarians are mostly stupid. Does that mean I don't like drugs anymore? I just think it's irrational. All right, I want to get into a little bit more internet drama because this one's very entertaining. So, folks, the Ben Burgess saga has a new chapter. Now, I need to be very careful with how I construct this because, Ben Burgess and I have a history, apparently. And even though I was under the impression when we had our conversation and he accepted my apology, I was under the impression that we're on good terms. He followed me on Twitter. I was under an impression we were on good terms. That impression was apparently incorrect. So Ben Burgess went on Mark Monkey's program a couple of days ago. Also, I was on Mark Monkey's program a couple of weeks ago. Go check that out first. Then go check out Ben Burgess's appearance on Mark Monkey's program. But anyway, I compiled a Twitter thread. Mark Monkey asked Ben Burgess about me, specifically. And it's very interesting. So I'm going to read. I made this thread here. Ben Burgess responded to the thread, spoiler alert, and his response was interesting. I'm going to respond to that. Now, again, first of all, hello, Ben, if you're watching this. I hope that the title was not, too inflammatory. I hope so. And I hope that you have watched more than 30 seconds. I hope. I don't think I used any swear words yet. Maybe I'll be allowed to monetize this because I didn't swear in the first 30 seconds. I'm open to having these conversations if you want. It might be a difficult conversation, maybe, but our last conversation wasn't that difficult. I don't know. But anyway, let me play this first clip. After defending Dave Chappelle's transphobic comedy special for 30 minutes, Ben Burgess then lambasts another comedian, me, for using vulgar language in a piece about him, ultimately saying he doesn't engage in the critique due to the words used. Now, you can go watch. I did not clip this part, right? But you can go watch Mark Monkey talk to Ben Burgess. Their first topic was cancel culture. And Ben Burgess literally said that Dave Chappelle saying he's Team TERF, that's not transphobic because it was part of an hour-long build-up. There was 30 minutes of build-up. It was part of a story. He was telling a story. And so when you take that out of context, you didn't get the whole story. And so that's why Dave Chappelle's not transphobic. I disagree with that. Right? But that was his argument on Dave Chappelle. But for me, he will hear an out-of-context clip, get mad, and then not watch the whole thing, and then lie about what I said or lie about that I'm calling him certain things that I'm not. Like, it's just, so anyway, I want to play the clip because he goes, this is entertaining. So let's watch.
Would be somebody more studied in it and watch the special. Someone like Andrea would probably be someone better to talk to. I know. But she does really want to talk.
I mean, just since you brought her up, let me just say real quick, right? My history with Andrea is she, like, over the summer, she denounced me in the most over-the-top, ugly way that you could, right? You know, that they have...
Again, 30 minutes saying that what Dave Chappelle said, calling his supposed trans friend, quote, the best, like, father or something that someone could ask for, like, dead naming, misgendering his supposed trans friend. I'm sorry, personally, as a trans person, I don't find that joke, I just don't find that acceptable at all under any context. Certainly not the context of the special. So, okay, but that's fine because it was 30 minutes as part of a story. He was building a story. Dave Chappelle was talking about a story. Me, I called him, quote, dumb as a shit fuck. Now, maybe that was a little too colorful. I'm willing to accept that criticism. Again, I apologized for it, and we had a conversation. He eventually did come on my show. I thought we were good. Like, maybe I'm too autistic to, like, participate in this kind of, like, social exchange. But I literally thought I apologized. Him accepting the apology and him coming on my show meant that we were good. Maybe I'm stupid, but okay.
Like, I think I watched like the first 2 minutes of the video, and there's lots of, you know, dumb as a shit fuck, you know, cringe to her, etc., etc. I was like, okay, that's like very unpleasant, and so I ended up saying no to the invitation to talk. And then months later, we like she did apologize for saying those things, and since I'm somebody,
I mean,
who
that's
almost
a kind of online content creation, to be honest with you. Like,
okay,
I try to avoid that.
It's not my kind of online content creation. It's not the online. Yeah. It's not the style of online content creation that any online content creator that I have respect for uses. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll just say that, right?
Well, first of all, that's not true. Like, the Majority Report uses offensive, over-the-top humor. I mean, the Michael Brooks show, like Michael Brooks, I'm just saying, right? I love the Michael Brooks show. I loved how he would make fun of people and just rip into them, right? It was great. I loved it. I love offensive humor. I love swearing. It's just, I don't know. Like, those are two examples that, unless he doesn't respect those shows or programs, because that's how I found Ben Burgess, right? So I found Ben Burgess thinking like, oh, this guy's cool with making fun of people and swearing at people. You know, that's what I do, right? So, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's a weird thing.
I don't say stuff like that. None of the people I watch say stuff like that. I'm not saying there aren't lots of people who do, but yeah. I don't, and I wouldn't. And, like, even people who I genuinely hate, like, people who I genuinely deeply despise, I still wouldn't talk about them that way. So,
I mean, like, what is this? Like, again, quote, dumb as a shit fuck, comma, cringe tour. Like, how is, like, I'm sorry. Like, first of all, I already apologized for that. And if you watch my videos that I made about him after my apology, I specifically avoided calling him names because I apologized and I wanted him, you know, to understand that. Like, I don't, but also, I'm going to be honest, this idea that, like, calling someone, quote, dumb as a shit fuck is somehow, like that is somehow, like, again, 30 minutes of saying Dave Chappelle's not transphobic because he was telling a story, right? He's not transphobic. He was telling a story. You have to watch the whole special. You need all the context. You took him out of context. But him watching me for 2 minutes, even after I apologized, still saying that it's like despicable language. I mean, come on, man. This is so conservative. This is so pearl clutching. I'm sorry, Ben. I just, please, like, I thought we were behind it, but okay.
All I could say is that that's just a very different sensibility. When somebody says, "Oh, I don't even dislike you," I just said all those things, right?
Like you've not, like, I don't know. Maybe Ben Burgess doesn't joke around with his friends, but I have friends. Sometimes I call my friends stupid motherfuckers. Like, I don't know. Someone drops a glass and it breaks. Oh, you stupid motherfucker. Would Ben Burgess go like, oh, I wouldn't even say that against my worst enemies. Like, I don't know, man. Like, now, maybe you can make the argument that Ben Burgess and I do not know each other, so maybe I should have been a little bit. But I swear a lot. I say that about anything. Maybe I shouldn't. You know, maybe you can make that argument. I don't know. But I apologized. He accepted my apology. We had a conversation. I thought we were good. But now he's apparently still offended by this.
It's like, well, okay, we're living in two different universes here, but she eventually, like months later, she and her fans kept pushing, you should have a discussion. You could have a discussion of, and I kind of said, well, I don't, all this left a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't really feel like it. Eventually, she apologized for it. We had a discussion, which I thought was a good discussion. Again, I almost always take almost every invitation to talk to somebody,
which I appreciate.
We had what I thought was a good discussion, and then after the Rogan appearance, I mean, I'm not going to watch it based on my previous experience watching her.
1 second.
Her other video, the previous video about me that I've watched, but just based on the title of it, it seemed like it was even worse than the.
Now, timeline here. Let's look at the timeline. So, I call him dumb as a shit fuck, which to me, that didn't even register as offensive, right? Like, I don't know, but I apologized for it, and we had a good conversation. So wouldn't that, like, again, because I'm autistic, maybe I just didn't read the social cues. I don't know. I thought that meant we were good. But so he's saying that after I apologized, because I made another critique of him, that undoes the apology and he's not even going to watch the video? So he's not going to watch the critique because of something I said about him that I apologized for, that he accepted the apology for. What? Like, that's just such a weird thing to say. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird. And it's hypocritical because, again, Dave Chappelle's not transphobic. Didn't you watch his whole special? Didn't you watch his special? He's not transphobic. Oh, you have to watch the whole thing. It's 30 minutes. It was part of a huge story. He was telling a story. You have to watch the whole thing. You can't take him out of context. He is fine with taking me out of context, though, and canceling every other video I've ever done because of one thing I said about him that I apologized for, that he accepted the apology for. But anyway, that's just part one. So then my thread goes on. Then he says he didn't watch any of my critique of his Joe Rogan appearance even after I apologized. And you can watch my later videos to see I did use less swearing because I did not intend to offend him so deeply. However, very curiously, he followed me. So after I criticized his Joe Rogan appearance, apparently, according to him, he did not watch any of my criticisms, but he followed me. Hey, as an autistic person, you're sending me mixed messages here, man. This is some, I'm making a joke here for reference. Joke alert. This is ableist. To say you accept someone's apology and then do this stuff, man, that's ableist. I'm just saying. Obviously, I'm joking. So, now, I'm being cheeky here. Cisgender man, Ben Burgess, then claims that transgender woman, Andrea Rovenski, is somehow less aware of transphobic conspiracies that he, after spending half an hour defending Dave Chappelle, knows more about the subject, finding it impossible he made any mistakes. So this clip here, I think, is a little revealing of his kind of opinion on trans issues. Like, he thinks he's nailed the trans debate and that his opinions are perfect. And that even trans people criticizing him don't matter. Now, I would love to have this conversation with Ben Burgess. If he doesn't want to have it, I'm down to have the conversation about Andy No. I'm down to have any conversation about it. I'm down to talk about, like, fucking football. I don't know anything about football. If Ben wants to come on my show again, let's talk about dogs. I'm down, okay? But this is a bizarre clip.
Like, it was even worse than the one before.
I watched it on stream, and, of course, there's
the title said promoted transphobic conspiracy theories, and if you believe that, I'm sorry, you're an idiot. Like, if you believe...
So, the title, right, was like, he went on the Joe Rogan show and engaged in transphobic conspiracy theories. Because Joe Rogan was giving off transphobic conspiracy theories, And Ben Burgess, in my opinion, as a trans person, kind of let him just say it and move on. Now, Ben Burgess, like, if he doesn't want to talk about it because he's not an expert, that's okay. But he did objectively have Joe Rogan say a bunch of really transphobic stuff and didn't really counter it. So to me, he was there and I criticized it. But now he's saying that, again, a video he didn't watch. He did not watch this video, right? He is saying that, like, I'm an idiot for potentially having an opinion that he made up in his head. He made up this opinion in his head. This is fantasy. This is fan fiction. That I'm like I'm attacking him and calling him a transphobe. I never called him a transphobe. I said he was on a show that was engaging in transphobic conspiracies. And my critique was that here's how you should have handled it. In my opinion, here's why I, as a trans person, am offended by this. And he's calling that critique stupid. I would have to be an idiot to have made this critique. Except he didn't even watch the critique. So again, he's making up a boogeyman in his head, calling that boogeyman stupid and idiotic, and applying that to me. And it's not even like what I said. It's not even like, but okay.
I believe that I would ever in a million years promote a transphobic conspiracy theory. And first of all, I don't believe that you believe that. I don't believe that anybody believes that, because I believe that anybody...
I would suggest watching the video. Personally, I would suggest watching the video. Before commenting... Again, Ben Burgess said you can't comment on Dave Chappelle's comedy special unless you watch the whole thing. I would say you can't comment on my video unless you watch at least maybe 1 second of it. Maybe. Like, I'm just saying.
Who's ever read, watched, or heard 30 seconds of me in any context would know better than that.
I mean, I think there's a difference there, because I think there's a lot of times when people don't recognize that they might have like a slight spot, a blind spot for certain topics. And
okay, but there's a galaxy of difference between you have a slight blind spot for this topic and you're promoting transphobic conspiracy theories.
Yes.
So again, not only, right? I don't think I used the word promoted. I think I used the word engaged in. And in the sense that Joe Rogan engaged in transphobic conspiracies and that Ben Burgess did not counter them. But again, he did not watch the video. So he's creating like a fictitious narrative that's not really based in reality and arguing with that. Again, which is hypocritical considering in this very same interview with Mark Monkey, he spent 30 minutes saying, Dave Chappelle, you got to watch the whole special. Otherwise you're taking him out of context. Take him out of context. Like pulling a Sam Harris. Now, am I saying that Ben Burgess and Sam Harris are the same person? I'm making a joke. I'm making a comparison. Sam Harris loves to say, you took me out of context. Ben Burgess apparently, you took Dave Chappelle out of context. You can't criticize Dave Chappelle unless you've seen his whole special. Yet, he's criticizing me without seeing anything that I said. So
of course. But I mean, again, we're talking about online content creation. And I watched that video, and I thought there was a lot...
That's a kind of online content creation I just don't want anything to do with. Like,
I just want to be very clear. Like, I'm not trying to do this as any form of like, rude or evil. I discovered Ben Burgess from the Michael Brooks show. That's how I found out that he exists on this planet alongside me and other people. That show used a lot of offensive humor. That's why I liked it so much. Huge fan. Rest in peace. A lot of offensive humor. A lot of offensive humor. So just the idea that he doesn't engage in any online creators or like talk to any online creators that use offensive humor, I think I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's weird.
Anytime somebody says, online content creation just means you're going to say things like this, it's like, well, again, it's not my kind of online content creation. It's not the kind of online content creation of anybody who I have anything to do with, anybody who watch, anybody who I normally interact with, right?
It's not true.
Like, if those are the rules of that world, that doesn't sound like a world I want to have anything to do with.
So he's made up this again, it's fictitious boogeyman that like, I am some like deeply offensive and evil person because I called him dumb as a shit fuck. Like, again, honestly, I can't even see how that's offensive. What is a shit fuck? A shit fuck is nothing. So if you're dumb as a shit fuck, you're not dumb as anything because it's nothing.
It's marketing. It's one of those things that it really does suck. But when I watched it, I thought there were a lot of really good critiques of it. There were a lot of fact checks that were really well made, receipts brought. So am
I saying I'm perfect? No, but Mark Monkey is. No.
She would definitely be the one that I would have that conversation with.
Okay,
that's because my concentration wants to be.
It is right now unlikely because I spent 6 months not having a conversation with her because I thought that the things that she said were so...
Again, why is he dredging up this old shit? Like, if someone apologizes to me, and I say it's water under the bridge, it's all good, and then we have, a conversation about it, I'm not gonna, 6 months later say, oh yeah, they apologized to me, but, now I don't accept the apology anymore. What? I just, what? And also, again, he didn't even watch the video. He's spending several minutes attacking me when he did not even watch the fucking video. He is making up some fan fiction about me. And to be honest, I am personally offended. He has called me an idiot because I believe something I never said.
So ugly and over the top and unfair.
I would say ugly and over the top and unfair is lying about someone, making things up, and admitting that you didn't even watch the video, but still going on to make things up, and then saying that the apology that I thought you accepted is retroactively unaccepted. I would say that that's a little ugly and over the top, personally.
And then,
But you did wind up having a conversation. You do.
No, I did wind up having a conversation because she apologized for that.
So again, Mark Monkey is basically but why are you bringing this up? Because you had the conversation about it January 6th. Go watch it. She apologized. Why are you spending 5 minutes talking about this thing that is old news?
And then it just seems like now.
Anyway. You can watch my original video explaining why I thought he didn't handle Joe Rogan's conspiracy theories well here. I personally think it's a weird thing to say that he assumes it's garbage when he didn't even watch it, even though he followed me. So, Ben Burgess goes on Joe Rogan's podcast and engages in horrible transphobic conspiracy theories is the original name of the video. But because of his sensibilities, I changed the video title. Here you can see. I'm going to be sad. Ben Burgess goes on Joe Rogan's podcast, fails to counter gross transphobic conspiracy theories to make it clear that my opinion on this was that he did not go far enough, right, in going against these conspiracy theories. Maybe my title could have been better, but I mean, honestly, this is a little ridiculous, okay? Side note, also he really seems to dislike swearing and offensive humor, oddly considering I discovered him via TMBS, which consistently used offensive humor to get points across. Rest in power, by the way. For some reason, with no evidence whatsoever, Ben Burgess, account linked here, being a little silly, has convinced himself my critiques are worse than ever before, without even watching them, going as far as to say my videos call him despicable. So this is another really bizarre one. And again, I just don't get this.
Because she apologized for that. And then, it just seems like now, it could be that she made the most brilliant and insightful points ever in the midst of it, right? But if it's going to be the same thing, but even more.
So note the language here. If it could be. So what he's doing is baking in the real world into his critique. It could be that I'm making all this up. And if I weren't making this up, we could have a good conversation. Well, how about you, but he didn't watch the video. He didn't watch the video. He doesn't know what he's talking. And again, as a trans person, I find it, I will say, I think it is a little transphobic. A little. Am I saying you're a transphobe? No. But this is definitely something I think that you're very bad at articulating, at the very least. To go on a 30-minute defense tour of Dave Chappelle, saying you gotta watch the whole special. He's creating a story. It's a story. He's creating a story. You can't take him out of context. It's a story. Did you watch the first chapter of the story? To someone whose jokes revolve around misgendering and dead naming someone who committed suicide, by the way. In my opinion, you shouldn't be joking about them at all, let alone calling them a man after after they killed themselves. I think that's disgusting, whether or not there's a story involved. But okay. But again, to say that I'm evil or I'm despicable or that I call him things I didn't say, what the fuck?
Because she apologized for that. And then, like, it just seems like now, it could be that she made the most brilliant and insightful points ever in the midst of it, right? You know, but if it's going to be the same thing, but even more so, right? I mean,
if it's going to be the same thing, but even more so, but it's not. It's not. Like, that's the thing. He's using the word if, right, as like a logical baking in, like a get out of jail free card. So that later on he's going to say, well, I didn't watch it and I was just assuming that that's the case. And this is like, he's baking in the get out of jail free card. He's just making it up.
I mean, like, I just don't see, like, if it's going to be that again.
But it's not. If it's going to be that again, it's not. There is no indication of that being the case. I apologize to you. You accepted my apology. I don't know what to fucking do. What do I do in this instance? Like, am I not allowed to criticize you anymore? Like, what is, what?
Right? Like,
I mean, it wasn't last time, and she had critiques, so who knows? I don't know. That's just my view. It's just that she would be...
So Mark Monkey's trying to just end the segment because it's like, I got other questions here. Let's move on. But then here's a little golden nugget.
I say that again. I don't mean the conversation. I just mean that's if this is just going to be the pattern, that whenever I say something she doesn't like, right, she's going to put out a video that's like, Ben Burgess is a despicable piece of shit.
I never put that video out. I never did that. I never made that video. I never made that. That video does not exist. Go look for it. I'd love to see it, Ben. I don't know what you're talking about. What is this video? Where is the video? I would love to see it. You would need some sort of like quantum machine that can view like the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics to find an alternate universe, not this one, but another universe that had like a branch off point after our conversation where I did make that video. Otherwise, that's not the universe we are inhabiting. This isn't the real world.
Then like, that's not somebody I particularly want to talk to, even if there's a Jekyll and Hyde transformation when the actual conversation happens.
A Jekyll and Hyde transformation? I don't know what the fuck that means. What? He has made this up. This is completely fictitious. This is fake news. I don't know what to say. This is fake fucking news. Or fake news. I'm sorry. My apologies. Anyway, I go on. Once again, I am sorry to Ben Burgess for traumatizing you when you see me pop up, but I do think you should know what areas you're weak on and learn from people with more experience in them, whether intentionally or not, and I do believe it's not on purpose. You did make mistakes. So Ben Burgess responds to this thread. What I find despicable is the claim in your title. So he is saying, he is using the term despicable against me. I never used the term despicable against him. That I'd somehow promoted transphobic conspiracy theories. I've had too much coffee and I've been talking too long. There's a galaxy of difference between your week on the subject and that. That's something you'd only say if you intended to permanently burn every bridge with me. Now again, I didn't say that. He is misreading something. I didn't say he promoted the I said he was on the show and Joe was promoting transphobic conspiracy theories and that he did a really bad job of countering them, which is de facto promoting them. Now again, am I saying he said those things? No. But if someone says a bunch of racist shit and I'm in the same room and I don't say anything to them, right? I'm kind of enabling that behavior. If someone lies about someone else in the same room with me and I don't correct them, I'm kind of enabling that behavior. And so that's my problem with this. It's like, what? Anyway, I respond. I disagree personally. I think you definitely did promote them in the context of Joe Rogan's show. And I don't think that means you're a bad person in the same way that Dave Chappelle can promote bad conspiracies and you don't think he's a bad person. Apologies for the miscommunication. Then he says, you really can't put something like that in a title and try to do context and nuance later. Huh? Well, first of all, I can. I didn't in this instance. I did not do that. But I could. I could. It is physically possible to do so. But also, what does that even mean? Please understand titles are only 100 characters, but I also make it very clear I don't hate you, and I don't think my audience is dumb enough to react to things, I said things, just based on titles. And also titles are supposed to be clickbaity in our modern world. Have you never done the same? He has done the same. I mean, like his book. He literally, in the same interview with Mark Monkey, said his book is called, like, Canceling Comedians While the World Burns, because he wanted a provocative title, and that, like, he doesn't actually think cancel culture is the biggest thing, but he knew that that would draw. So he literally wrote a book called Canceling Comedians While the World Burns, admits that that's really not what the book is about, but he just used that as a catchy clickbaity title to get people to buy his book. So he literally did that with his book. He used clickbait with his book. I'm just saying. That's what he did. But okay. There's degrees of clickbait. No, I've never put out anything even close to that, and certainly not about a leftist. I mean, you called me you said that I don't know, like, you were lying about me. I'm a leftist. I don't know. I remember telling you before, I thought you and I started over the things you said about me before were things I wouldn't even say about people I truly hated. I don't even, like, what does that even mean? This is such a fantastical notion. And that's true, but I was still shocked to see that. Dumb is a shit fuck. I don't know. Like, have you ever spoken to a poor person? I don't know. Where I'm from, poor people like to swear. I don't know. I think it's a little uppity to say that swearing is, like, somehow deeply offensive. I'm not quite sure if that applies here. I try not to insult you directly at all, unless this is just in reference to the title still. The title is All I've Seen. He admits that he hasn't even seen the video again. I was pretty shocked by it. Even by the standard of what you said before, I really couldn't believe it. I don't think you're a bad person. I've seen you say smart, interesting things. Oh, thank you so much. I know your heart is in the right place, but throwing around stuff like that, this casually feeds into some of the worst things about the left. And I guess you probably don't care what I think, but for the record, I really do hope you evolve into a different approach in the future. I did. Like, this is like if you would have told me this conversation happened before our January 6th talk, I would have been like, oh, okay. This is him, like, this is me apologizing. Why do I have to apologize a second time for something he already admitted was okay, and he already came up? I just don't... By the way, would you be willing to watch the video now or acknowledge... Oh, missing context is I changed the title here. That's in another tweet in the thread here. I'm happy to acknowledge any mistakes and try to correct them in the future. I do very much stand by thinking the general approach, friendly conversation focused on a pitch to normies who like him to appeal to socialist policies, exposing disagree. So his opinion was basically... I don't want to get involved in the trans stuff because I want to kind of pitch Jacobin to normies. Okay, that's your strategy. But why, like, you have to understand, trans people might be a little upset with that. What that is basically saying is, I think trans people are a little bit of a hot topic. I don't want to touch it. Even if he brings it up, I don't want to touch it too much. Okay, if you think that that's a strategy that might bring people to the left, okay, I accept that that's a strategy. But you have to accept that when a trans person sees you kind of just like nod along and say, I think you know more about trans things than I do, that hurts. That you view our fight and struggle for civil rights as expendable in some broader socialist future. I'm offended by that. I'm allowed to be offended by that as a trans person. And again, he is saying that anyone that thinks he's saying that my criticism is idiotic. I have to be an idiot to have my opinion, even though he doesn't know what my opinion is, and he just made up what he thinks my opinion is. Anyway, a bunch of people respond to him. I love this comment here. I love how Burgess's engagement with critiques, warranted or otherwise, in this exchange depends entirely on his own nebulous concept of civility politics, and anyone who doesn't hold to his personal standards can just be ignored. I think that, again, we're just rehashing the same thing, but this was a bizarre exchange. Like, I feel like I'm on drugs a lot, but I feel like me being consistently on drugs that produce miscommunications with reality. I think still Ben Burgess is more disconnected from reality in this exchange. And it's weird. It's strange. Like, I feel like I'm on fucking Venus or Neptune or something. Like, I crash landed in a different world. Like, one, the idea that dumb as a shit fuck is some uniquely evil thing. Oh my god, did you hear what they said about me? They said I was dumb as a shit fuck. Again, I already apologized for that. And I stopped doing that. In any of my later videos, I take a different approach. And he still doesn't give a fuck. I don't know, man. I would recommend watching his complete talk with Mark Monkey as well. I honestly did not finish it yet, so I might make another follow-up because I know that there's 2 hours of content here, and I only got through the first hour. and then I got interrupted. So, you know, I would love the trip with Ben Burgess. That would be great. But anyway, like we just disagree. But instead of us discussing this disagreement, he wants to discuss some fantasy narrative about something that I may have said that he doesn't know that I said, but I might have said it. It's possible. If you use like a quantum time machine to view like other universes within the many worlds theory, that I may have said that in another world. But that's not the world we're living in. I don't know why. And again, it's hypocritical. Now, I know hypocrisy shaming is not a good strategy, especially when talking about the right. But Ben Burgess considers himself a socialist and a leftist. So yeah, I will hypocrisy shame. I, as a trans person, am not allowed to call Dave Chappelle transphobic because, but there's the whole story. It's 30-minute story he told within the hour-long special. You gotta watch the whole story. You took him out of context. Me, he didn't even take me out of context. He just made it up. Like, he just made it up. There was no even clip out of context. There was no context. He just made it up. He just made up what I said in whole cloth and pretended that's what I said and argued with that. And now, again, could my title have been better worded? Maybe. I changed the title for his benefit. And he said thank you. And this thread is a little hard to follow, but he did say thank you for me changing the title. But I mean, like, this shit's weird, man. This shit's weird. It's weird. I have never had a more bizarre interaction with another, like leftist content creator or whatever. I have never had this much of a bizarre interaction with someone online. This takes the cake, man. This is some weird shit. So anyway, he's probably not going to watch this video because, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the title is. Should we come up with a title live on stream? What should this video be called? Like, bizarre. Ben Burgess creates fan fiction about, you know, a comedian and then, like, argues with the fan fiction. I don't know, like I don't know. Like what should I say, like, should the title be YouTube streamer Andrea Rovenski has small critique against Ben Burgess, author of, like, should I make the title as banal as possible? Like, what should, like, because he's not going to watch the video, so what should I make the title? How can I sum up this? I don't know, but it's weird. This is a weird interaction I'm having with Ben Burgess. And again, I used to like Ben Burgess. I would like to say I still like him. I hope. Maybe. But this is fucking weird. Like, this is weird. I really, like, I can't wrap my mind around how humans can behave in this fashion. I just can't. I just think it's utterly bizarre. Anyway, you can go back and watch my video of his, of my critique of his Joe Rogan appearance. I had multiple critiques. And I'm going to try to get through the rest of the Mark Monkey, show that he did, but that was 2 hours, so I, had to do it in 2 parts. But maybe I'll have more to say tomorrow about what else he said on Mark Monkey's show. And also go watch Mark Monkey's show with me. There was a couple of weeks ago. That was a good ep. And there you go. Oh, Zeke, don't worry. I saw that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I told you I saw it. I told you. I mean, I think I responded to you.
Dumb as a shit fuck, you know, cringe tour, etc., etc.
There you go. I don't know. Anyway, so I took the day off yesterday, and now you got an extra long show today. So anyone complaining that I took a day off, go fuck yourself. I made up for it. Fuck you. Can I include a link to the show? Which one? The Nico House debate and interaction that I had with him was entirely predictable because Nico House is a right-wing, like, agent provocateur. And so it's pretty easy to predict that he's going to act like a right-wing agent provocateur. Ben Burgess calls himself a socialist and a leftist. He claims to be against civility politics. And yet does this kind of stuff. It's just weird. Like, it's definitely more bizarre, for sure, than Nico House. Yeah. Let me get... So, this is, the show that I did with Mark Monkey. And you can go look at their channel and find the Ben Burgess show as well. Alright, y'all. That's it. That's it. That's the program. I hope y'all enjoyed. I don't know why people are so uptight. Oh, Zeke, you got a new one. Okay, hold up.
Oh, Crystal Ball's so stupid. Oh, she's so stupid.
I love it. Oh, thank you so much. Now I don't have to look for it. As problem solved. Let me go to twittervideodownloader.com. Just gonna casually download a video from twittervideodownloader.com. Real quick. Real quick, just saving a video. Don't mind me. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you again tomorrow. Oh, yes.
Oh, Crystal Ball's so stupid. Oh, she's so stupid.
Do not come. Do not come.
They're coming all over the place.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa. Not like, whoa. Not like, whoa. It's not like, whoa. I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce. No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
Everybody comes in, your grandmother.
And say, oh, I'm not a beta male. I'm not a beta male. You know, you're a beta male.
Beta.
It's like, oh, Abel's your guy, eh, God? How about if I take him out in the field and beat him to death? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the vote.